We bought this $10,000 TV just to compare it to this little $1,000 TV. So if you were paying attention to our last video, we had the battle of the budget beasts. So they were 3 Australian affordable TVs. So if you haven't checked out that video, please check it out, link in the description below. So today we have taken the winner, which is the TCL C755 55 inch, and put it up against the king of TVs, the LG G4. So today we're here to compare these two and to see, is the difference worth it? Is the price difference really an issue? And would you pay the difference? So we have Marcus here from Gaming Tech, would you believe it? And we have our friend Damien here, who's also one of our helpers for today. So guys, let's check out some gameplay and we'll cut back at the end with the final evaluation.
Look at the OLED.
Night and day, man, night and day. Look at the black level above the sky. Like, look at the difference, like how lifted it is down the bottom.
And you still have all the details, you know, that's the thing.
Yeah, it's very interesting. Like, it's good to see. Like, colors are much more accurate. Specular highlights are there. You're getting darker darks, brighter brights. This is like what a real HDR image is. Absolutely. Where the blacks are black and the brights are bright.
It's a very unfair comparison.
It is, man.
But I mean, that's the point, you know what I mean? So what do you get, you know? This is what you get.
Like, look at the black, the space. Like, see how it's all kind of gray compared to the OLED. Like, look at that, the picture. Like, can you see?
Oh, you can tell it's like day and night.
Like, that's, yeah, like, you look at the top right-hand corner, it's really black, it's dark. So this is the thing, like, if you wouldn't put it next to an OLED, we were drooling over this. But now we're putting it next to an OLED, like, I'm like, no way.
I mean, look at the contrast difference already, you know?
So when we're talking about contrast, we're talking about, say, like, the darkness in here, and, like, look how, like, when this thing's flashing, you can see how the color is isolated purely to where it's supposed to be. Like, the outline of that body, that's the only part that's supposed to be bright. And like the gate behind the character, that's still pitch black. And that's what we're trying to say, is like, that's a dynamic range. So you're getting a super dark and a really high peak brightness, where LCDs don't have the technology to separate the background from the character. So you can see the gate on the bottom TV is kind of lifted. I don't know if that you can see that or not.
You can see it.
So the colors are lifted on the back. So you're really starting to notice this is good, man. But see, can you see how everything looks almost like there's a layer of gray over the screen?
But that's typical LCD.
LCD. As I said, if you just stay on that frame, see like the colors
crystal.
are rich. Crisp. Yeah, you look in the building on the left, there's real dark shadows, but the brights are really bright. But just in general, that LCD TV looks like it's got a layer of gray.
Like a haze or whatever, something like that.
That's an LCD panel. This is like peak LCD quality, where OLED, this is just standard OLED. That's inherent of OLED's technologies. But generally speaking, VA type panels don't have the best viewing angles, which means if you have a TV like this, in a big size room where you have a couch over there, and you're not just sitting directly in front of the TV, when you go off angle, quite often the picture can look washed out. So I don't know if you can try and get this on camera, but if we go straight from the middle of the TVs, and then if you go off angle to the side, you'll notice the OLED maintains all its color, all its brightness, where the LCD just starts looking really washed out and gray. For me, that's a really big thing. Some people might say it's not a non-issue, but for me, these type of things really, really matter. Now, what do you think about the difference? Like, if I sat you down here and I wasn't pointing out like the banding that's going on here to the black levels here, would you notice that? Would you go, okay, maybe this is worth the extra $3,000, or is that to you, that's not an issue? Like, now that we're pointing it out, how important is that stuff to you? Do you feel that's even an issue at all?
It's hard to say that it's 4 times better, like maybe 2 to 3 times. I think you'd be stretching it to say 4 times, but you can definitely see the sharper image quality on the LG TV. So for me, I would definitely pay that extra because I know it's going to last me longer.
And just the smoothness of the panel, like they're both doing 4K 120, but I look around, there is nothing, it's not missing a beat, where I can see smearing on that LCD. It's not just the picture quality, it's the frame response. Like when you're moving around on the game, Like even though they're both doing 120 frames per second, the pixel response on the OLED is instantaneous. So that means when you move from side to side, it is absolutely clear.
Yeah.
There's no blurry, no smearing. It's just such a flawless technology. Is it worth 4 times as much? That's up to the
you.
individual, but I just think OLED is perfect. There is nothing, like aside from, you could say, okay, it doesn't get as bright or whatever, but the modern OLEDs are getting just as bright.
Yeah. The
so
T4 in this case is getting brighter than the TCL here.
it is brighter. And so that's the thing. I feel like if you're a gamer, even if you're not, this is the perfect technology. So it's getting very hard to kind of avoid it. But like, as we said, at that kind of price point for $1,000 roughly, it's not a bad option. I'll start with you, Damien. Tell me, what do you think about the differences in this TV? Do you think these TVs are worth the difference in price, and would you pay the difference in price if they were both 55-inch, based on a G4 being around $4,000 and this being a $1,000 TV?
The price is mostly the biggest thing that people factor in with a TV.
Yeah.
You go to JB and you're flooded with TVs. So, I sit the TCL in front of me, it looks fine, there's nothing wrong with it. But now that I've seen the LG and played on it, it's fantastic. And where you compare $1,000 versus $4,000, you have to remember that's after tax. So if you're working, you might need to earn $6,000, $7,000 gross while working.
That's a good point.
Because you've got to take your tax
point.
away. This is after tax. So if you're paying 30 to 40% in your marginal tax rate, that 4,000 is looking more like 5,500 to 6,000 you working, and that could be a whole month's wage for someone. I think it comes down to how long do you spend on the TV? Is it 1 hour a week or is it 15 hours a week? So it just depends on your circumstances.
What about you, Marcus? Like he's sitting there, I can see his lips ready to go. Like I want to know.
What are you asking me? OLED forever. I mean, look, this is like crazy. This is a crazy big difference. Start with the feeling when you play the game actually, because even we're talking about 100 FPS or 100 Hertz here as well on the TCL, but it looks so much better on the OLED screen.
Yeah.
So there's no doubt. If it is worth the money, this is a question which everybody has to answer for their own.
Yeah.
I would like to spend, or if I can, I would spend the more money, because if this is what you do for leisure time or whatever, then you should have the best quality.
Absolutely.
That's how it is.
It is interesting, like you do have these compelling products that could be worth a purchase. We had the Telefunken in the original video, which was a pretty strong competitor if you're willing to go without HDR. At the moment, it's like buying a Toyota and a Mercedes. Hey, they're all going to get you to school, they're going to get you to work, but the Mercedes is going to cost you more in the long run. But do you want to drive in style? Do you want to feel like you're sitting in a lounge room, or do you want to feel like you're sitting in a plastic chair at the park when you drive there? Not that there's anything wrong with Toyota. I own a Toyota. They're actually good cars, but you get my point. This is where we're going to have to decide, is this TV worth 3 or 4 times more? Because we could argue the Telefunken TV, which was half the price, I was like, I would go for that.
SDR, fine. Absolutely
SDR, fine. But yeah, when we come to this and we're looking at, say, a 55-inch G4 and a 55-inch C754, I think, or 55.
So that's the thing. So this TCL is a decent HDR gaming TV. The LG G4 is high-end.
Yeah.
That's how it is.
This raises like interesting points, because look, LCDs are getting so good.
Yeah.
Like, I wouldn't blame someone if they said, well, man, I'm not going to pay 3 times as much for a 15-20% improvement.
Well, it comes down to how much you use a TV and how much value you get out of it, really.
Look, this is a good budget option, without a doubt. Like, this is a fantastic budget option. I think this is a very good mid to low range TV. If you have a budget of $1,000 and you've just bought a PS5 Pro or something like that, that is capable of doing high frame rate gaming, it's actually not a bad choice.
No, because we're still talking about 4 times more money.
And look, I've been converted to OLED. I'm an OLED guy now all the way. And I used to be very critical of OLED, but once you've lived with one, it's like, I don't know, it's like eating chocolate and eating dirt, you know what I mean? It's
I know.
For me, look, I guess somebody could come in here and argue and go, man, I only see a 5 or 10% difference. The thing is, like, say you got this TCL, man, you could probably keep it for 4 or 5 years before there's a big enough leap. And I think people need to manage their expectations. You've got to remember, once you buy OLED, you're in that top 95% of TVs. Even if you get a basic B series OLED or something, your panel technology has done all the hard lifting. You're already there. The only differences you're getting are just brightness differences. Like if you paid, you know, $5,000 for an 83-inch C1 4 years ago, are you going to pay $7,000, $8,000, $9,000 for an 83-inch G4 4 years later? No, it doesn't make sense.
If you don't have money, what you can spare like that, you know, then don't do it.
Yeah, well, this is where this TV comes into play. Like, it is quite an attractive proposition. You know, it is a good value proposition. You're looking at a TV, what were we saying, 4 times the price. 4 times cheaper than a G4, right?
Yeah.
At its equivalent size.
Yeah.
And you are getting, I would say, relatively close.
So if we're just looking at the money, so price-wise, I would say the TCL is the better TV.
I agree.
Because that's what you get. This is a very decent picture, full stop.
I agree.
So, and you put this next to other TVs, you know, not OLED TVs, this smokes the other TVs.
Yeah.
Clearly.
Definitely. So the boys and I have been playing this for a while now. We've been using the G4 and we've been using the TCL C755, and it kind of gets down to this. OLED is better, but the money is so significant, it's very hard to recommend bang for buck. That's the thing. OLED is the king. Nothing comes close. This is just such a better technology for gaming, for videos, for movies, for everything. But can you justify a 3 times cost over an LCD TV? So bottom line is, if these are going to be that kind of price differential, Marcus, I'm pretty sure I know what you're going to say. It's just going to be an OLED all day, right? All day. And for you, Damien, would you recommend this to your mum? If your mum said, hey, Damien, I want to buy a really good 55-inch TV, and you said these two, and she goes, well, why is that $4,000 and $1,000? Would you recommend it to your mum?
I'd have to go the value for money, the $1,000 TV.
It does make sense, but the bottom line is, it's just, if you are a gamer or you are serious about movies and content, we just feel that even with the best budget beast we could find in Australia at this time in 2024, the OLED is still the king. However, if you are budget sensitive and you do want the best bang for your buck, the TCL is actually a pretty good value proposition. Just don't put it next to an OLED. So guys, thank you for joining us on this video. This was a new story for us. Thank you very much for Marcus to joining me. He flew in all the way from Adelaide, and thank you for Damien for joining us as well. So thanks guys. And look guys, if you really enjoyed this content, please let me know in the comments. We put so much time, money, effort and energy into this video. So if you did enjoy it, please let us know by liking it, sharing it, because it's going to encourage us to do more with the channel in the future. So thank you guys for joining us. From the bottom of my heart, I appreciate it. So until next time,